What's up, sexy?
Get in, loser. Let's go shopping.
All right, so I'm currently on the way to look at 4 apartments that I will be renting from a landlord and then re-renting on Airbnb. This is called rental arbitrage, and I'm gonna be documenting this series because a lot of people have been asking about it. It's not something that I typically do. I usually do acquisitions, meaning I buy my own properties, but because I get asked about rental arbitrage so often, I've decided to start adding a few units to my portfolio because A, the cash flow is really great, B, the content is really great for y'all. So let's do this thing. All right, so we're looking at 4 3-bedroom units. They're actually all townhomes. The cool thing about this is that this entire complex right here is owned by the same owner. They're totally cool with the rental arbitrage, and they basically control the HOAs, the bylaws, everything like that. This is about as safe as it gets in the rental arbitrage game, so I'm really excited.
The biggest things were the houses are really nice, but we are close to 610.
Highway over there,
Yeah.
house right here.
Come on in.
Cool. That is very small. You know, we're the best tenants ever.
That's what I was
Honestly,
telling
you'll
her.
never hear from us.
Yeah. So I was educating her on our business and how we operate, and obviously, you know, how it's basically going to be a cake job for her.
Yeah.
We are leaving the 4-unit apartment complex. We just went and took a look at it again. You know, a couple things that worry me about that particular deal, specifically that it's right across from a highway, and the craftsmanship of that place. It's mostly good except for the final 10%. A lot of little things like missing grout. The caulking is bad all around. There's just really weird little things, a couple cracks in the drywall. Ultimately, they're gonna fix all that before we move in. It's still a really good deal. I wanna go into the studio really fast. And what I wanna do is take you through the numbers and through my comps and talk about how much money these 4 units are gonna make me. So let's hop into the studio.
All right, we are back in the studio. This deal is kind of moving pretty quick, so I wanted to brief you sort of how this all came together. So I had someone that went to HostCon, my conference that I threw not too long ago, and they were crushing it in their rental arbitrage business. And I reached out to them on Instagram and I was like, hey, curious, like you're doing so well in your arbitrage business, why aren't you doing more? And she was like, well, to be honest, I just need more capital. And I was like, okay, well, I'm in this phase in my life as a short-term rental operator, but also entrepreneur and investor that I have less time, but I have more capital. So we worked out a deal to where basically I am the OPM. I am the other people's money. I never thought I'd be here, but I am the OPM for her. So basically Lauren, her name is Lauren, by the way. Basically Lauren is in charge of finding the deals, furnishing the deals, managing the deals, and I'm funding it, and I'll provide overall support whenever she needs it. The way that we actually worked out the investment structure here is that I'm funding it, I'm the one that's taking all the risk, so I am getting 75% of the profit, and she is getting 25% of the profit. So she's effectively property managing for 25% of the profit until I get my money back, and then we waterfall to 50-50. So 75-25. Once Papa Rob gets all his money back, it becomes a 50-50 partnership, and then we split everything from there on. Now, I'm really particular with how I do rental arbitrage deals because there's such a temporary or a short-term business model versus buying something and owning it forever. I want my cash-on-cash returns to be much higher than I typically would seek for an acquisition. So I'm gonna run you through the numbers of this particular deal. One thing that I want you to know is that we are renting 4 of these. Not just one, we are renting 3 3.5 bath townhomes in the Houston area. Dang it, why do I always forget to mute Caleb? Caleb, that was you, I'm gonna blame you on this one. All right, so let's jump into the numbers here. Okay, so each of these units are roughly 2,300 square feet, and the rent on these are $3,300 a month. We negotiated this down from $3,900 a month, and on top of that, we've negotiated between 4 and 6 weeks of free rent. We're still working through those details. And then the security deposit on this is gonna be $3,300. So we're estimating that we're gonna spend about $20,000. I mean, if we go by my $10 a square foot rule, it should be about $23,000, but we get different discounts through vendors through some of my relationships. So I think we will furnish it for about $20,000. All in, if you look at this cell right here, we're looking at about $26,600 per unit out of pocket to get this business up and running. So if we're doing 4 of these, let's just do the math on that. What's the math on that? Times 4? Times 4? $106,400. $106,400? That's how you say that, right? $106,400. $1,600. Cut that out.
I will not. I will not. I will not.
Okay, so 106,400 bucks is where we're sitting at. So that will be our initial startup cost. Let's look at our monthly expenses. So we've got 3,300 bucks here for rent, water, trash 200, Wi-Fi 65, gas and electric about 500 bucks, and then other miscellaneous costs will be about 100. So our total monthly costs on this will be 4165. So not a cheap venture to go into. I mean, like, let's just math this out. What I'm going to be spending out of pocket if things don't work out would be $16,660 per month times 12, $199,000. This is a $200,000 risk that I'm taking. 4165 times 4 times 12. Yeah.
Everybody stay calm. What procedure? Stay calm. Wait.
I hadn't mathed this out until this moment, but that's a lot. I hope we make more than that. No, I'm just kidding. So we've done some math here to kind of figure out what we're gonna make. She actually has a property not too far from here, so we can actually pull from her comps. These properties are nicer, they're newer. So she's estimating we're gonna make roughly $6,658 per month, meaning that our estimated monthly profit will be about 2,500 bucks, $2,500 per unit. So that means that each unit every year will make 29,916 bucks, which is pretty good. When you multiply that times 4, 119,664. Not bad, not bad. So we'll make $120,000 roughly on this. Okay, and my all-in on this is about 106,400 bucks. I just remember that off the top of my head. I didn't look it up. But with the power of movie magic, so that means that my ROI on this specific property will be 112% of the top 1%. About 112.47%. Now remember, it's not exactly this because we are splitting this in that waterfall that I was telling you. In this scenario, I'm actually only gonna be getting 75% of those profits. So really after my 75% take of this, I'm making 89,748 bucks, and that would make my cash on cash return on this 106,400, 84%, 84%. Can you see that? You can never see these when I show it. 84%, which is pretty good. I typically want it to be a little bit higher for a rental arbitrage unit, but here's the deal with this property. Was that mine? That had to be you. Yeah, that had to be you. And so if we are successful and we hit our marks on this, that means that not only will I mostly get paid back in year 1, but effectively years 2, 3, and 4 will be straight cash flow. Meaning, you know, I'll have to pay back a little bit in year 2, about 15% of my investment. But after that, I will be making, after my waterfall split and everything like that, about, I don't know if you can see, about $59,832 per year on this specific deal. Multiply that times the 3 years that we're mostly gonna be cash flowing on this. If everything goes well, everything goes perfectly, I will be making a total $179,496 after I've paid back my initial investment of $106,400. See, now I do remember the figure. So I think that's pretty good. I mean, there is not really a lot of investments out there that you can go and basically more than double your money. Is it doubling my money? Yeah, it is. More than doubling it. There's not a lot of investments out there that pay out dividends like this. I mean, if you think about the stock market, a really good return is 10%, meaning if I invested 100K, a great return would be 10,000. So the fact that I'm investing 100K, getting most of that back in year 1, and then a little bit into year 2, and then after that, it's just straight cash flow. This is a slam dunk. This is a rock star investment. And one really interesting thing about this that we haven't really talked about in this video is how Lauren was actually able to negotiate these properties with the landlord. This is a big question that people have with rental arbitrage. How do you get a landlord to agree to it? So actually, let's give her a call. I doubt that she's available right now, but let's give her a call and see how she was able to lock down 4 units, because honestly, I'm curious. Hello, welcome to YouTube.
Hey, what's going on?
You're live in front of 250,000 loyals. No, I'm just kidding. This is all pre-recorded. But, okay, so I'm doing a video on this rental
I was
arbitrage.
like, so morning would have been nice, Rob.
Yeah, I know, but this is fresh. It's raw. All right, so we're doing a video on this rental arbitrage deal that we're working on. I've run people through the numbers. I have talked about this deal, kind of the arrangement, the payback, all that stuff. Like, the one thing I'm curious about is how you actually found this deal and how you negotiated it. Can you run us through that?
So I jumped online and looked for properties through sites like Zillow, HAR, Redfin, or whatever sourcing online platform that you use to find a property, right? Rental properties. I reached out via the link on the Zillow listing, and the listing was posted by the realtor, right? I hit the realtor up. I asked her if the home was open to a 36 to 48 month lease. She gave me a call the next day, and we scheduled an appointment to meet at the home after she said the landlord was open to such a long lease. After touring the property, I realized that there was a lot of room for negotiating on the rent price. And so the original listing price was $3,900. We negotiated because of the terms of the lease and the fact that we were going to be managing the home. We negotiated down to $3,300 a month for 48 months.
Nice, nice. And so when you brought up the idea of rental arbitrage, they were just like, yeah, they're fine with that.
Absolutely. So the realtor that listed the property was actually also the property manager. And so her ideal client would be someone like us because we are providing the property management services. So what that means to her is that she essentially gets to sit back and property manage the home, make money on the home when we're doing all the work. So I knew that we had that competitive advantage as well.
Yeah. So basically she's going to bat for us with the owner because she's like, hey, I really like them. They're going to be minimally invasive. We'll never hear from them. They're going to be doing Airbnb, but they seem really legit. And then the owner's like, sounds good.
Absolutely. And I did open up, both of our profiles, asked her if she would like to go tour any of our other properties or speak to any landlords that we've previously worked with to see the lasting relationship that we have and how we pay rent on time. We keep the homes in phenomenal condition. So all of those were just layers of added benefits to working with someone like myself.
Okay. So we just use a little bit of credibility too. We showed our profiles. We're not newbies at this, basically.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool. Awesome. Well, it looks like you're furnishing an Airbnb, so I'll let you get back to it. But
I am hanging wallpaper right now.
Nice. That's good stuff. See, and I'm going to make you do that in all 4 of these units too. All right.
Put me to work.
All right, bye. So after talking to Lauren, honestly, it just seemed like this one was pretty straightforward. In the whole world of rental arbitrage, it's not like you just call someone on Zillow and then you're like, hey, I want to rent your place on arbitrage and then throw it on Airbnb. And they're like, sure, sounds good. Like, you usually have to do that many, 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 many times. And I'm sure she did, but in between me saying, hey, let's do this, to her actually bringing me the deal was like super fast. So kudos there. This is getting real very, very quickly, especially now that I've mathed out that I'm dropping like 100K and I'm on the hook for about 200K of expenses. So you get into this conversation here, especially with short-term rentals, and it's a conversation I have all the time. People always want to know, hey, should I get multiple units in the same area, in the same city? Am I cannibalizing my own property by doing that? And the short answer is no. My philosophy here is if you're in a city, you're already competing with thousands of people. I would rather just compete with myself. If I have 4 units, sure, I'm competing with myself in the same area, but I also am privy to the occupancy and the cash flow of each unit, and I'm able to create my pricing strategy as a portfolio of units versus just one. So that gives me an advantage there against the market is I sort of have the inside scoop on my own properties. Now, that doesn't mean that I just want to go out and get 4 units. Like there's research that we had to do. We had to go and corroborate that people are renting in this area. Luckily, this is a very, very nice part of Houston. It is like the neighborhood to be in. We're on the outskirts of it and we are right next to a highway, but overall, I still think this is a really great location. I think that where the danger comes is if you were to get 4 units like that and just solely rely on Airbnb as your means of getting clientele. Me and Lauren's plans for these 4 units are actually to rent them on a midterm rental basis and find clientele that want to book my properties 30 to 180 days out of the time. This is called a midterm rental. It's not exactly my expertise because I'm more in the short-term rental category. So what I want to do is call my buddy Jesse, who is a midterm rental expert. He's so good at locking down contracts and filling all of his vacancies with minimum 30-day stay. So let's see if he's got a moment here. It's a pretty ideal scenario to have 4 in an area like the Heights.
Totally.
The rent is $3,300. I was thinking the midterm rents are going to be like $6,500 to $7,000.
I would probably, to be conservative there, I'd probably say you're going to be like 55.
55. So still like a 2K spread.
Yeah. 16 to like 2K was right, pretty spot on.
I still wouldn't get paid back in the first year after all furnishings, but year 2 is when we really start cranking out the profit.
How much do you usually allocate for furnishing on a 3-2?
I mean, $10 a square foot, but she was saying she did a similar 3-2 and she spent like 20K. So I was just assuming I was going to spend at least 80.
Yeah, she's right. Like 20K is pretty standard. That's what we're sitting around. 20 grand. That's like buying pretty decent stuff.
Deposits and first month's rents and all that stuff. But we're going to try to see if they'll give us the first month free if we get them all.
Or if they don't want to do that, see if they can add like a 13th month if you want to do that.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. That could work.
You're still picking it up on the back end, not necessarily up front.
Sounds like they will do a 3 or 4 year lease too.
Yeah, you're going to need 2 minimum just to be able to start cranking that cash flow. I like to be able to make sure I get paid within the first 6 to 8 months.
You like profit, you're saying?
Yeah, like after all expenses said and done, if I can do that within 8 months, that's nice. But even a year is not bad at all. I think people just worry about freaking making money too fast. I mean, most businesses don't even make money until year 3, if they even do make money.
Well, that's true. And if you think about the cash on cash return of a house, if we're trying to get a 20%, that means that we don't actually make money for 5 years.
Yeah.
Because you're just paying back your your initial investment. I don't know what your metric is for rental arbitrage, but it's like 200% is my ideal because you get paid all of your money back and then you get paid again. Since like
Right.
you don't have to worry about all of the down payments and all that stuff, I do feel that cash on cash should be pretty good. But I think if you have a 3 or 4 year lease, a 100% cash on cash return is decent because you get paid back in the first year, and then years 2, 3, and 4, it's literally like just basically
flow.
profit after you. Yeah, it's cash flow.
And I think the problem that most people have is that they're expecting to get that money like right away. It's like, dude, most businesses, look it up, Google it, don't make money until year 3. And if you're able to do that through arbitrage within 6 months to even a year, you're freaking winning all day, dude.
She said that right now she's getting an average of 6,500 to 7,000 on her place that's like a minute or two away from there. She said these are nicer and they're newer than what she has. Now I was like, well, here's the problem. You've done it one time, but when you have 4, it becomes a little bit of a different ball game. Now you're competing against yourself, which is fine, but it's not like you're just going to have all these people that are like hitting you up at the same time. You'll have vacancy now.
Yep.
And with vacancy, that means now you have to worry about keeping the lights on and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So do you think our play for this is get these, list them on Airbnb, list them on Furnish Finder as well? Or do you think we should go straight to like the ALE people, corporate housing, to all that kind of stuff?
How sure are you that you're going to pick these up? Like, how positive are you?
It's on me. I can decide right now if we want them.
Got it. I would, if you're going to decide to take them, I would start listing on that stuff like today, literally today. I would go on alesolutions.com and literally list it today as an operational unit.
She said that she has a contact with ALE that she hits up every month, and she's like, hey, just following up, do you have anything available? And she hasn't gotten any like commits from them before. Is there like a trick to getting them to like, what's your address? I'll tell you it's blah, 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 because I know where you live.
You could do that. Or you could just say, hey, I want to, as a token of my appreciation, I want to have a conversation with you. If it's 5 minutes of your time, if you don't mind, I would like to send you Starbucks. What's your favorite Starbucks drink? Tell me who's around you. And they'll start giving you their cubicles. What's their name? What's their last name? Then guess what I do after that, Rob? I go on LinkedIn and I click on every single one of those people. I find out what they're doing. I send them emails. I put them in a tickler file. I already have their email address, their phone number, and I'm sending them Starbucks. So I have a Zoom call just like we're doing right now. And I will say, hey, here's my properties. They're 5 minutes from this, 5 minutes from that. We're in a zip code. Here's what our crime rate is. Here's what the property looks like out front. Here's what unit A, unit B, unit C, unit D look like. And here's the nearest amenities. Here's how we can help you. Do you have any customers that potentially may need this? Do you mind if I follow up with all of you guys? That's it.
That all sounds really good, but are we just going to gloss over the fact that you say you're putting together a tickler file?
Yeah, of course.
Like
You get a
tickle, like hee.
Yeah, we get a tickler file. That's exactly. Did I say that on Bigger Pockets? Oh,
No.
yeah, that's exactly what it is, dude. It's a
Okay.
tickler file.
Tickle.
Yeah, you just put them in a Rolodex. You get MailChimp. You send them an email blast anytime you have a vacancy, anytime you onboard a new property, anytime somebody takes a crap and decide to flood a toilet. You just update them literally on everything with those properties. Out of sight, out of mind. You just stay consistent with them, just like you do when you're doing your email campaigns, dude.
Warm them up. Just talking to someone like that, I feel a lot smarter. Like that's the kind of friend that you want in this space, is finding someone that you listen to them talk, and then by the end of it, you're like, oh, you made it seem so easy. It was right in front of me the entire way. So where I think this series is gonna go next is you're gonna actually see me starting to hammer the phones and making contacts with hospitals and travel agencies and insurance companies in hopes of building a rapport and filling all of my units in Houston here with their clientele. So stay tuned for that. I've already got a couple of ideas. I'm excited to possibly, make $172,000 over the course of 4 years, which to some of you bigger operators, you might be like, that's not a lot of money, or hey, isn't that somewhat of a small deal for you, Rob? You have to remember a couple of things. This is a completely passive deal for me for the most part. I'm investing in someone that's going to run these properties for me. But on top of that, so many of you have been interested in this particular model, the rental arbitrage model. And formerly, I wasn't super pro rental arbitrage because I'm a big fan of acquisition, but I do understand with the market rates and interest rates being like 7, 8, 9%, that does crush returns for a lot of people, and a lot of you just really want to get in. So I'm going back in the trenches and I'm going back to my roots, and I'm doing rental arbitrage in hopes of showing you how to do this the Rob Built way. And the cool thing about it is my plan is to basically educate you on how to start with rental arbitrage and how to take the cash flow, right? The $179K from a deal, and how to parlay that into owning properties. So that's going to be the direction that you're going to see some of the content going on the Rob Built channel. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to teach you about it. If you found value in this video, do me a big favor. Hit the button down below. If you want to go next level and join my community of over 1,800 students, maybe 19 or 2,000 at this point, my giant community of host campers, then hit up hostcamp.com, book a call with my team, and see if my mentorship program is right for you. do. You know, I might be a little biased here, but it's pretty amazing. We hold over 100 calls every single year, from design to automation to midterm rentals to short-term rentals to analysis paralysis and overcoming it, glamping, development, everything.
Wow.
We do everything in host camp because it's dope. All right, catch you on the next episode of Raw Built. Bye.